Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for Monday, October 5th, 2020. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Simpson, roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Rafato?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Chairperson Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes of the special meeting of the Liquor Commission for June 15th, 2020. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos. Second.
Second.
Trustee Rafato. Was it
Lang.
Rafato? Oh, Lang, sorry. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Citizen concerns and comments. Clerk Simpson.
There are none.
Oh. Let's get right into the meat of the matter.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, new business 6A, hearing in the matter of Confessions, LLC, DBA Confessions, 780 South Wheeling Road, docket number 20-01.
Prosecutor Reedman.
This is the matter, hearing the matter of the liquor license of Coffeessions, LLC, doing business as Coffeessions, docket number 20-1. And I believe that the owner of the store, the owner of the company, Coffeessions, is here.
He's in the back.
Can I ask him to step up?
Please.
Oh.
And Judge, if you could, just use the microphone. Thank
There
you.
you go. My wife always yells at me when I have to speak that I don't hold the microphone anywhere near my mouth. So this way I didn't even touch it.
No, we'll tell her.
In any event, I spoke with Mr. Perez last week, and I spoke with him again today. And he has indicated to me, I came prepared to have a full-blown hearing. He's indicated to me that, number one, he had paid the fine on January 27th after appearing before the administrative division that Wheeling has. And he paid that fine of $250, I think February 24th. He's indicated to me that as he stands here today, he's not going to contest that. I have a transcript of what the hearing was. It was very short. He's admitted the violation, and I've spoken with him, and while I'm not representing him, I've told him what all this is about. I have copies of exhibits, including the liquor license, the retail liquor license. I have copies of the notice that was given to all of the establishments back in December of 2019, and the notice that went out that there was going to be a sting operation that was taking place in the village in January. I have a copy of the petition that I presented. I think that the commission already has. And oh, yeah. I did call, excuse me. Well, that's the problem with these things and hearing aids. They don't And the only reason I wear the darn things is because my wife insists, and I can't hear. Excuse me, I'm sorry. See, when it starts to go, it's first the eyes and the ears. That's why I retired from the circuit court, before all that happened to me. And then right after I retired, then it all started happening. Can I ask if the clerk can swear in the witnesses?
And the court, have the court reporter do that, Judge. Yep.
Self?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony will be given in this trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure.
Now, I have other witnesses that I called to be here this evening, but since we come to an agreement and a stipulation as to the offense, do you need me to have them sworn in?
No, if there's going to be a plea of guilty, that will not be necessary because the plea will admit the allegations in the petition.
So is it in fact true, Mr. Perez, that you were admitting the allegations in the petition that's been filed before you?
Well, I thought that you had asked me to provide a statement,
Well,
a public statement. I think
what I'm
because
gonna
of,
say, what
because
I
of the
said to
nature
you.
of the.
Let them finish, please, so you both can talk.
Can I finish? Because of the nature of the exercise and because I believe in the intent of the exercise, and I think I don't have a choice now but just let it go. But the actual transaction didn't happen, and the process when we were serving didn't finish. It didn't go to the extent at which the bartender was going to ask the person for the ID.
When you say transaction, you mean no money?
No. In fact, the last sales we had that day, we didn't have any sale in the bar that day.
Attorney Reedman, it doesn't sound like we have a plea of guilty to
I
the
think we do.
petition.
What I explained to him earlier was if he was pleading guilty to this, admitting to it, that at some point he would have an opportunity to say what he's saying right now to the commission
Okay.
in mitigation.
I got you.
And I think that he was probably, and I don't blame him, more interested in telling you what those mitigating circumstances are. And I've talked with him and I understand them. But the facts in this case are that the police were doing a sting operation. They were just outside the window of the store. And if all the witnesses that testified, the police officer that's around, Officer Lee, and there's a young man here who is a minor, who was the one that went in, the testimony would be, and there would be a stipulation that this young man went in, and he sat down at the bar. The bartender wasn't there, but Mr. Perez was there, and he asked Mr. Perez for a Coors Light beer, and he was asked to show an ID, and the young boy gave him the ID. The young man is, I believe, 15 years old. The ID is the correct information as to what his age is. He showed it to Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez looked at it and went to get the beer, Coors beer, put it on the table, opened it up for him, and that's when the police came in and indicated that there was the operation that was going on and that the violator committed.
Do you stipulate to these facts, Mr. Perez, here, over here? Mr. Perez?
Say again?
You stipulate to these facts as described by Attorney Reedman?
It didn't end there because, and let me just go back, and I think partially that is true. I was there, I was working on the back, the bartender was in the kitchen, and there was no one there. So I heard the noise, I came back front, because I knew the bartender was cleaner or something.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
When I came to the front, there was a young boy there, and yes, there was an order. I asked for the ID with the expectation that the bartender would come and finish the transaction, because I'm not a bartender. I kind of went to help to, get started to the process. But by the time that the bartender came in front, the police had come and take over. And that was it. I think because of the nature of the exercise, I'm guilty, right? But the process, hopefully you will keep this. There wasn't a sale.
Well, you're charged under 4.32.165 of the Wheeling Code, which says that a licensee may not sell, give, or deliver alcoholic liquor to any person under the age of 21. So it doesn't have to, the sale doesn't have to be completed. It's sell, give, or deliver. The same language is found in the state Illinois Liquor Control Act.
I understand.
So if you understand that, the money doesn't have to exchange hands.
Totally understand. And I feel horrible because I have kids there. The boy who was in the kitchen, I had seen him asking people who seemingly are adult, like, give me your ID. So I knew he was going to find out. I didn't look the ID well. I mean, I wasn't selling. I was just starting the process, but the police came in before the bartender who was in the kitchen.
Let me ask you a simple question. Do you admit that the young man who you brought a beer to was under the age of 21?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Judge, do you?
I mean, I didn't scrutinize the ID because I was hoping the bartender was going to do that.
Sure.
And I had seen him before asking people who are similarly adult, like, give me your ID.
But you did bring the beer to the young
Yeah, I did.
You did.
But it wasn't like, I was just helping the process start.
We understand. Attorney Reedman, do you feel a need in light of those statements to call your witness?
No, I think that the events that took place back in January at the hearing, before the administrative hearing and the stipulation and agreement that we have here in the testimony that you heard is sufficient to prove, as you pointed out, the statute indicates that that merely delivering or serving is enough without any type of transaction.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me one
Commission
moment.
members can ask questions. Absolutely.
I do have exhibits to give you.
Sure.
Commissioner Papantos?
Thank you. Mr. Perez, are you aware that an underage license is specifically different from someone 21 or older in the orientation?
I know, and that's what the bartender told me. Had I seen it, right away I would say, what are you doing here? But my intent wasn't like...
You looked at the license, and that's where I'm confused.
I did. But you can tell that I wasn't there at that. I rushed from the back. I was working I have a little lab on the back. I was working there. I heard the door, and I knew the bartender was in the kitchen. I rushed in.
So anybody who comes in underage, if you're distracted, could be served?
No. It hurts because had I been because I think I celebrate what you're doing, and I'm not disputing. The process is the process. But I just think that how it's reported wasn't entirely how it happened. Had the process gone through to the point of charging, the bartender would have found out that he was an underage.
What if the underage individual had already consumed the alcohol? It doesn't really matter. Have you been Bassett trained, which is a requirement, I believe?
Well, I brought the certificate for my staff. I'm not a bartender myself. And as I said, I just came from the back to help in front.
Have you been Bassett trained?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Papantos. Commissioner Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. One of my questions, Mr. Perez, was already asked and answered, so my only other question could more be for Steph. The $250 fine that was paid at adjudication, what was that for?
That's for the ordinance violation. It's a local ordinance violation that could have been brought to the circuit court, but because we have in-house adjudication now, it was brought here. There's always a companion, essentially, it's an ordinance violation. It can be an ordinance violation or a state violation. That's not unusual. Anytime we have this type of liquor matter, there's the ordinance violation. It's prosecuted at the court level or adjudication. then the licensee comes before this body for consideration of any appropriate
Separate and
penalties.
apart from
Separate and
those
apart,
those
correct,
fees.
yes.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger. If there are any other questions or comments, turn it back over to Mr. Ferrolo.
Attorney Reedman, you have exhibits you'd like admitted
Yes.
into evidence? I can take those. And then, Mr. Perez, if you have any documents you'd like to give me, I
Yeah,
can
so I
take those as
just
well.
want to leave the transactions document for that night, that the last sale was way before what this happened, so there wasn't any transaction. That's
Hold on one second, here you go.
And then I have the Bassett certificate
Thank you.
for the bartender who was there that night, was not there, but I just brought it to. It's not working for me anymore.
Okay. Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 will be admitted into evidence on behalf of the petitioner, Chief Jamie Dunn, and on behalf of the respondent, we will admit into evidence the certificate of completion for Bassett training for several staff individuals who are named, as well as it looks like a timeline of transactions on January 8th
Right.
of 2020? Okay. Both, everything will be admitted. Anything else on behalf of the commission?
Looks good. Thank you. We're going to take this under consideration. You want to
In
explain?
executive session. Is there anything further? Do you rest your case, Attorney?
We would rest at this time.
Anything further, Mr. Perez?
No, I just want to know what would be the next step for.
I can explain that. After, we have one more matter before this commission tonight. We will go into executive session under the Open Meetings Act to deliberate what we've heard. The commission will decide on appropriate penalties for both of the license holders that are up for hearing
Yeah.
tonight.
And just one more thing. With this, I'm not even questioning what you guys are doing, and I celebrate the exercise. All my kids are trained that even people who seemingly are adult, they ask for the ID. I wrote a letter saying that because of what happened, we have retrained and have even offered to do some additional things to help, kids. I don't know what else I could say.
Okay, good. That's it. That's fine. We will, we'll probably make a decision within the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, after we hear the next matter.
Should I wait?
You can if you want to. You don't have to. We'll send an order out within the next 5 days, but it's up to you completely.
We have a second matter. It is in the matter of the liquor license of Shree, Radhe, Krishna Incorporated, doing business as M&D Village Pantry, also known as Mom and Dad Village Pantry. This is docket number 20-2.
Good evening, everyone.
Either one.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. I spoke, you go by the first name of Chad, right? Okay. And we spoke last week, and he indicated to me that what happened was unusual. He indicated that the person that was involved with this, he let him go because of this violation. He indicated that he had gone in and entered a plea of guilty at the administrative hearing back in January. He indicated that he had been fined $250, and he paid that money. That was the correct money, correct? Yeah, $250, and that money's already been paid. And he indicated to me, rather than having a long, drawn-out hearing, that he is admitting to the charges, and he would stipulate to the proposed finding of facts that I would make before this commission.
Okay, maybe have the witness sworn in, maybe ask him a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sure, it's Chad, last name Patel.
Into the microphone, please. There you go.
Chad, last name Patel, P-A-T-E-L.
And Mr. Patel, you are one of the owners of the liquor license that runs the Mom and Dad Village Pantry, is that correct?
Yeah, I partially manage it. My dad who owns it, but he's
Okay.
actually not feeling
You're
well
here,
right
you're
now,
one of the agents of that corporation, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And You and I talked, and you indicated that you had reviewed the petition that had been presented by Chief Dunn, and that you had an agreement as to what the alleged facts were. And on this particular date, on July 9th, one of your employees, who was a server, Baron Jakumar Patel, was representing your company on that night. Is that correct?
Yes,
You said July 9th, Attorney Rubin, January 9th, I think you meant to say,
What
right?
did I say? January 9th.
Yes. Okay.
And that approximately 6:55 p.m. on that day, a minor entered the premises and went to the front door, and he ordered a six-pack of Bud Light beer. Is that correct?
I wasn't there, he was working, but I saw the camera, yeah, I did.
Okay. And after he ordered that Bud Light beer, Mr. Patel had checked his state ID. Is that correct?
Again, I wasn't there, but I did advise everyone that works there, they should be checking IDs, but
Okay.
I don't know why he,
But the facts you would agree is that Mr. Patel did check the ID, as far as you know.
Yes.
That's what you admitted to at the hearing,
yes,
am I
yes, I
right?
did.
And after he checked the ID, he went out and brought him the six-pack of Bud Light beer. Is that correct?
Yes,
And it was an alcoholic beverage, is that correct?
yes, he was, yes, sir.
And the young man was 15 years old, is that correct?
He's probably, I didn't check, but again, yes, he could have been, yes.
And
He was
Mr.
under
Patel
21.
was over the age of 21, is it?
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes, he was.
And so after checking the identification, Mr. Patel did, in any event, give him the beer. Is that correct?
Yes,
And he did that in violation of State Law 235 ILCS 5/6-16 and also the local village ordinance. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. And I have three exhibits to mark. Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 for the chief of police, on behalf of the chief of police. And
Thank you. For the record, we've received Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 on behalf of Chief Dunn. Exhibit 1 is a notice to liquor license holders in the Village of Wheeling that the police department will be conducting random checks early in 2020. Exhibit 2 is the affidavit of service of the notice of hearing and petition for tonight, served on September 24th, 2020, on the license holder. And Exhibit 3 is a copy of the retail liquor license, local liquor license for the Mom and Dad Pantry convenience store. Those three exhibits will be admitted into evidence. And, Mr. President, any questions of the board?
There doesn't, just Commissioner Papantos.
Thank you. Was the employee who sold the six-pack Bassett trained?
He was, and just because of this, he's no longer with the company. Because I'm very strictly to anybody that works there, if they make a mistake, especially in this situation, they're out of there. I'm sorry, no exceptions. But again, I wasn't there at the time, so I tried our best to keep everything under control, but it is a mess up, and I know that. I do apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Papantos. If there are no other questions, Mr. Ferrolo?
Anything further, Attorney Riebman?
nothing further.
Okay, anything further from the licensee?
I mean, I know that first of all, I'd like to apologize. I know it shouldn't happen. As you can see, we've been in business for a very long time, and I guess it just pandemic. If it can be learned leniency, I would really appreciate it if it can work out or something. But I still want to stay in the neighborhood, and it is what it is. But again, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, with that, Mr. President, the evidence would be closed.
Sorry?
The evidence is closed at this point?
Okay, so we need a motion to, do we have to close the hearing first?
No. Motion to recess.
Motion is to recess into executive session to discuss the evidence or testimony presented during the open hearings. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee, Commissioner Vogel, second Commissioner Kruger. Roll call.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Recess. everybody's seated, I need a motion to reconvene into regular session.
So moved.
Commissioner Kruger, second. Commissioner Lang, roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito,
Are we reconvening? Is it a here
Right.
or a yes? Yes, or here.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato,
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos,
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you. The Liquor Commission has deliberated the evidence presented in docket number 20-01 related to the license of Coffeessions LLC, DBA Coffeessions. Based on the deliberations, we have a motion? First of all, because we have a guilty pleading, the commission deliberated the penalty. And can we have a motion to impose the following penalty upon the license holder? A $250 fine. The license holder shall additionally pay $200 toward the administrative cost of this hearing. So $250 in a fine, $200 for administrative cost. The licensee shall also be required to supply to the village clerk a list of the names of the manager, owner, and servers currently employed by the licensee, and provide certificates of completion of BASA training for all of those categories of individuals, no later than 5 days from today. And finally, the licensee shall supply to the village clerk, also 5 days from today, the licensee's current written policy for the sale and service of alcoholic beverages to the public. Can I have a motion to that effect? So moved.
Motion,
Second.
Commissioner Vogel, second, Commissioner Papantos. Roll call.
Commissioner Vito,
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato,
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos,
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes.
Mr. Perez, an order will be signed by the President of the Liquor Control Commission, and it will be delivered to your place of business, so you have everything in writing that the village is expecting, okay? Mr. President?
Yeah, we'll do the other one, and then I'll make a little announcement.
Okay. In the other matter, docket number 20-02, also based on deliberations and after the guilty plea that we heard tonight, can I have a motion to impose the following penalties? A $250 fine. The licensee shall also be required to pay administrative costs in the amount of $200. The licensee shall also supply to the village clerk a list of names of the manager and servers currently employed by the licensee and provide certificates of completion of BASA training for the managers, servers, and owners, I should say, that work at the establishment. And finally, the licensee shall supply to the village clerk the business's written policy for the sale of service of alcoholic beverages in fact, no later than 5 days from today. Can I get a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Kruger, second, Commissioner Papantos. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Vito,
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato,
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos,
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Mr. Perez, Mr. Patel, we did take into consideration the economic times that we are in, as cliche as that might sound. We discussed the fact that notice did go out and that there was an offense, but we do understand that these are difficult economic times for especially the serving industries. Your fines were amended and adjusted. They are not what they should be. This is, however, a first offense, and a second offense carries a much steeper fine. Please don't do this again. It'll be expensive. If there's nothing else to say,
Mr. President, I do have one final announcement relative to the
Mr. Ferrolo, go ahead.
liquor compliance checks that were done early in the year. We had multiple checks that were done on all of the license holders in the community. There were over 40. In addition to the two you heard tonight, Coffeessions, as well as Mom and Dad's Pantry, there were two other violations issued, one for Market Square and the other for Palamuru Grill. Both received violation notices for service to underage individuals. We are not prosecuting the Market Square or Palamuru Grill violations because both of those businesses have ceased operations. They've both been closed for a period of 60 consecutive days or more, and under our liquor code, when a licensee is closed for that period of time, the license is deemed forfeited and lapsed, and that's why we did not bring those to your attention this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo. So if there are no other questions, we need a motion to adjourn from the Liquor Control Commission hearing.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Vogel.
Second.
Commissioner Papantos. All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes the Liquor Control Commission hearing. If that's all you're here for, run away, run away. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Village of Wheeling for October 5th, 2020. Should I pause while they scurry? Roll call, please, Clerk Simpson.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Rufato?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
President Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of September 21st, 2020. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Rufato, second by Trustee Vogel. That was Rufato
Wait, I'm sorry.
and Vogel.
Wait, what is this for?
Minutes. The minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was talking.
It's all right.
All right, Trustee Vogel
Yes?
Yes.
and? Second by
Trustee Rufato made the motion, Trustee Vogel.
Okay, Rufato. Okay.
Want to call him?
All right, Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
That brings us all the way down to citizens' concerns and comments then, Clerk Simpson.
Okay, members of the public may address the board with comments regarding issues relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign their request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. Ms. Wilson?
Just as a reminder, this is a time for citizens to make comments and express their concerns and for the boards to listen. Neither the board nor staff will be answering questions.
As Manager Svandilis's performance and evaluation is coming up, perhaps you would conduct an inquiry with the IT department to find out how he uses the IT department to get into emails that members of the public believe they're sending to you and not to him. As a matter of habit, he is logging into employees' emails, using their email to look at your private email accounts. And most disturbing, on occasion, he has forwarded an email that a resident or another trustee has sent to one of you and shares it with one of the other trustees in a most divisive manner. I won't share the particulars of those up here, but if any of you would like to see it, I'd be happy to show you printed copies. I'm concerned about the way he utilizes friendships and relationships with some individuals on this board to get information and things to get a better performance review. As I shared with you last time, the previous village president was feeling very betrayed that in a year after losing the election that he had only heard from John Svandilis twice, and he thought they were such good friends, and was particularly upset after all he said he had done for John to help him win favor with the rest of you by providing him, allowing him to listen to the closed session minutes, closed session deliberations over his performance so that he would have a better strategy to overcome your concerns over his performance. what I get really concerned about is this man is very articulate, and I'm concerned that he can kind of wow you with what he says, but you're not really evaluating him based on substance. And substance would be following the municipal code, which states that it is all of his working time is supposed to be devoted solely to wheeling. And instead, he's at home taking care of his 2 kids half the day. So as a taxpayer, I don't appreciate paying this guy over $200,000 a year because he doesn't want to hire a nanny. I have on video confronting him once, I don't know if it was 10:30 or 11:30 in the morning, it was just happenstance. I was standing in front of his, his parking spot with a sign that said reserved for the village manager. And I was, showing my iPhone saying it's such and such time, and he's not here yet. And I can't remember if it was 10:30 or 11:30 in the morning. He gets out of his vehicle, and I said, "Oh, look who's here." I said, "Well, where have you been?" And he said, "Oh, I was at a function with the Chamber of Commerce, which was a legitimate place for him to be." And he was acting like this was unusual that he comes in this late, but he actually had legitimate village business to be at. But then we got the Edgar County Watchdogs obtained 3 years of his swiping records to show that coming in 10:30, 11:30 in the morning is a 5-day-a-week, almost every day occurrence. It's a natural part of his work rhythm. So I just wish that you would pay less attention to what comes out of his mouth and more attention to when he shows up at work. Now, I was very concerned, when I talked to Joe Vito after this, I said, Joe, how do you feel about him coming in late? He said, well, I'm a professional. I trust that he's doing his job. Well, if he doesn't have a nanny and he's got 2 babies at home, toddler and an infant, and his wife's working full-time, what do you think he's doing? And I feel like you're violating your fiduciary duty, not just Joe, but all of you. All of his time is supposed to be devoted to wheeling. In the Wheeling's municipal code, his job description is he's the chief administrative officer, to oversee all employees in the departments. He is arriving and not once in a while, 5 days a week, rarely is he ever here before 10 a.m. He's routinely showing up 3 to 5 hours after every other employee is here. And Trustee Papantos, I can take blows when they're legitimate, but you said that you think I make this stuff up. And you said that I couldn't possibly have the swipe-in records from dozens of other municipalities because they don't have the technology. Well, you know what I'm going to be doing between January and April? I'm going to be up here every week showing you those records. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I can take that, but don't lie about it. Don't lie, because you don't have that information, or you don't care whether or not other municipalities have swipe-in records. They do.
That's the time.
You violate your fiduciary duty.
Ms. Wilson,
and giving us grounds for a taxpayer lawsuit for violating your fiduciary duty. I don't want to pay for his nanny
Ms.
piece.
Wilson, do you need to be escorted
He's making
out?
over $200,000 a year. He ought to hire a nanny.
Ms. Wilson, thank you. Okay. Not her first rodeo. Anybody else?
No.
Thank God. Staff reports. No staff reports. Consent agenda, Clerk Simpson. John sits in on his own reviews, by the way. They're not a secret. Nobody has to shuttle the information.
Oh, there wasn't any of that, that's true. I have both the nanny and daycare. If anybody would like the receipts for both of those 2 things, I'd be happy to provide them. Also, the village president doesn't have access to the executive session recordings. I do, so I don't really need anybody's help if
But you're
that
there.
was the case.
There.
Maybe she's looking for a job.
Maybe. Maybe she could have been at my house last night when I was working for hours too, and every morning when I start at 7 a.m., but that's okay.
Should I read the consent
Please,
agenda?
we digress.
Okay. Item 11, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution waiving competitive bids and authorizing the purchase of 3 Zoll X-Series defibrillator monitors and associated equipment at a cost not to exceed $89,915.09. Item 11B, resolution authorizing acceptance of a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Illinois Department of Transportation Sustained Traffic Enforcement Program grant through federal fiscal year 2021. Item 11C, resolution ratifying the village manager's execution of an agreement with GovTemp USA LLC for temporary professional staffing services in an amount not to exceed $22,050. Item 11D, resolution authorizing the village president to execute a grant agreement renewal regarding congregate meals provided by the Village of Wheeling. Item 11E, resolution authorizing the renewal of a food service agreement with Hoffman House Catering for the Village Senior Service Congregate Dining Program. 11F, resolution awarding a bid and approving a contract with Durabil Fence for the installation of a uniform fence along the rear lot of 10 Willow Trail at Dundee Road in an amount not to exceed $32,940 in 2020.
If there are no questions or requests, I need a motion to approve the consent.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. New business, Clerk Simpson.
13A is resolution approving the final plat of subdivision for Willis Dundee Road Resubdivision 213-251 East Dundee Road, docket number 2020-22.
Mr. Clicker, what do we have?
You have before you a plat of subdivision that takes the properties that from 213 to 251 East Dundee and consolidates them into two lots. Lot 1 is the existing Dunkin' Donuts. Lot 2 is to be for a future development.
Question, Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. We approved this a year ago.
Correct.
And now we're doing it again because it expired. Are we going to be doing it again in another year?
I do not believe so. I believe the development proposal will be shortly on its heels.
Thank you.
Anyone else? There are no other concerns or comments. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Vogel, second, Trustee Rufato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Item B.
Item B, ordinance granting a variation from Title 19 zoning to permit a 6-foot-tall opaque fence within the front yard setback area, 1001 Kenilworth Drive, docket number 2020-23.
Mr. Clicker.
What you have before you tonight is the petitioner wishes to replace their existing fence with a new cedar fence. However, with the regulations regarding fences in front yards, this, even though it is an existing fence location, does require a variation. Was recommended unanimously, and on a side note, yes, staff is looking into text amendments regarding fences, as this is the third meeting in a row that we have had a fence variation in front of us.
Excellent. Questions or comments? No questions, no comments. Then we need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Give the motion to Trustee Krueger and the second to Trustee Rufato. Roll call.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item C,
Yes.
ordinance granting special use approval for a cannabis craft grower and infuser in the I-1 Light Industrial and Office District and a cultivation center in the I-3 General Industrial District, 1480 South Wolf Road, 1837 Craft Grove LLC.
Mr. Clicker, this is one of those split zoning lots.
One of
isn't
my
it?
favorites, yes. As you know, this is one of my pet peeves, and yes, this is exactly the situation why I want to address this in the near future. What you have is the principal building is zoned in the I-1 district. The remainder of the lot, or actually the last 5 foot of the building, and then the parking lot behind the building is in the I-3. Considering that craft growers are a special use in the I-1 but not permitted in the I-3, we had a choice to make of either making a text amendment to the I-3 or also allowing for a special use in the I-3, which does allow for cultivation centers. However, I would like it noted that even though a special use for a cultivation center may be considered for this, it in no way in shape or form allows them to build a cultivation center. If they were to come in with that, it would be required to go through all of the site plan reviews and approvals prior to construction. With that said, they are applying for a cultivation center, a craft grow facility. They are indicating 7,500 square feet of grow space. It should be noted that the state law, which also village ordinances piggybacks on, states that the maximum grow space for cultivation center, what am I calling it? Yeah. The craft grower is 5,000 square feet unless the state approves a larger space under application. So as this petitioner goes forward, if they are approved for a larger than 5,000 square foot grow space, they have indicated that they would like to have up to 7,500 square feet. With that said, the Plan Commission did hear this. There were some concerns at the Plan Commission regarding potential odor. The petitioner did indicate that they would install air purification or scrubbers if needed. And with that, it was recommended for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Clicker. Comments or questions from the board? Trustee Papantos, then Trustee Vogel.
Thank you. And I'm not sure which of you to address this to, but it would be one of the petitioners. This is a new industry in Illinois, but not a new industry across the United States. How does Illinois compare to other states currently?
Please come to the microphone and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Nick Standiford. I'm a zoning attorney at Shane Banks for the Craft Grow Company, 1837 Craft Grow LLC. This is my address is 70 West Madison in Chicago, Illinois. This is John Zitzman. He's the SVP of Operations of 1837 Craft Grow, and behind him is Jeremy Olson, the architect for the project. Thank you for your question. This is new to Illinois. The state has not distributed any licenses for craft grows yet, so we are still in that process. What we're here to do today is to get the zoning from this community in order to hopefully, once we get the license, if we get the license from the state, then we can start our operations. But if not, then unfortunately this exercise might be one in futility. But we're hoping to get recommended for approval and be one of the first craft grow facilities in the state. Is that right, Mr. Zitzman?
Yes, my name is John Zitzman. I reside at 3170 North Sheridan Road in Chicago. The states obviously vary. There are some states that have offered up to 2,000 or 3,000 grow licenses. The state of Illinois, I think, learned a lot from what other states did wrong, and so they only issued 21 medical licenses initially. They made a commitment to those 21 license holders that if they added any more growers, it would be a craft grow. So you're allowed to start out at 5,000 square feet of canopy for the plant. And you're allowed to grow up to 14,000 square feet with approval from the state. So we would never look to increase more than 14,000 square feet of canopy.
How much space do you have? If the state were to approve, how high could you go and still be a craft grower?
Just 14,000 square feet.
You have that in this particular building?
5,000 would be the initial grow area. We would have to be up and running for a year at the 5,000 square feet and prove that we can do what we said we were going to do in our application. And then you apply to the state and they can increase the square footage on 3,000 square foot increments.
So what we propose to do then is to come back for a site plan review if we were going to expand our facility towards the west.
So it would mean an expansion of the facility, though?
No, not necessarily, because the space is high enough to stack our grow rooms. All of the, initially we'll have 8 grow rooms. They're self-contained pods within the facility, and those can be stacked too high. So we'd be able to expand within the facility and also higher up.
Okay, so it's
Right.
not area-wise, length times width, but you include height theoretically?
Correct.
Okay, and
And then, trustee, the floor plan is on your screen. So the middle area is the area where the grow operations are going to take place. And then towards the left side of the screen is where the infusion and the making of the product is going to take place. And then on the right side, that's the office portion. So you see the big box, and then there's a little cutout portion. That's the office space for John and others to meet with vendors and that sort of thing.
and thank you for your cooperation. I did watch the Plan Commission, so I kind of understand as much as I can, what's going on. As far as the odors go, what's going to trigger, one person complains and says, I think I smelled this. I mean, what is going to trigger you to take additional action?
Well, we hope to solve that problem during construction. We have planned a number of scrubbers that have large carbon filters to make sure that the vents aren't taking any of the air from the indoor, making sure it's clean before it gets put to the outside. And all that will be done on the rear of the building, all the venting.
And then if, to your question about complaints, if anyone has any complaints, they can, talk to the village adjudication staff or the village attorney or the village president, village manager, and they can convey those concerns to us, and we can take additional measures to reduce any odors.
Thank you. And what are you doing for employees? Will employees experience odors as they're working during the day, or?
They will, but they're not burning odors, they're just plants.
Okay.
And for many people, that's what they sign up for, and they're comfortable with that type of odor. And these, I think they talked in the Plan Commission about people who generally work in craft grow kind of have a green thumb, right? These are people who like being around plants, who like the smell of plants. So that's what we'd be looking for.
Okay. What do you expect your inventory level to be?
Well, we won't really carry a lot of inventory. As it's harvested and produced, it'll be packaged and taken out for sale to all the dispensaries. There will be no retail sales on site. There won't be people showing up to buy cannabis products from our facility. It's just a manufacturing facility.
Could a dispensary come to you and pick up, or you have to deliver?
Yeah, so part of our license is a transportation license. So we will have a couple of small Sprinter vans, and they will either deliver product or the dispensaries will come and pick it up from us.
So they can pick it up?
Yep.
When the state first started recreational use, I know there was a lot in the paper at that time that there were shortages. Is that still the case, do you know, or?
Yes, there are a lot of shortages. Most of the dispensaries don't have the product they need to meet the medical need, let alone the recreational need. So there are a lot of patients who suffer greatly from anything from glaucoma, cancer patients, and they are not able to get enough product right now.
And when do you expect the state to take some action? I mean, I'm sure that's the question of the hour.
So
Well,
do you want to, so in March was when we submitted our state application, and we are here in October now. And I think it was supposed to be released.
Yeah, so the licenses were supposed to be issued July 1st.
Yeah.
They delayed the application process 6 weeks. But if you've been following the news and the dispensary mess that's happening right now, I think the state took the extra time to make sure that they aren't making the same mistakes with the craft grow process, which is which is a very different process than the dispensary application process.
And if you did receive a license next week, how long would it take before you are distributing product? That you can be up and running and start growing and?
It's going to take probably 4 to 5 months to convert the facility into our needs, and then probably another 3 to 4 months for our first harvest. So it'll be 9 months to a year.
From the point of license?
Yep. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos, Trustee Vogel, and then Trustee Lang.
Thank you. A couple of questions. One, I know you mentioned that there was going to be over like 200, I believe, 200 security cameras throughout the premises.
Correct.
What's the manpower as far as security?
We will have probably at least 2 security guards there at all times, 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Okay. And maybe this, Mr. Ferrillo, is there any of the applicants required to go through any type of background check? I realize they're not selling.
Yes.
With the state, extensive.
State is very extensive.
Well, we all had to pass FBI background checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it isn't.
We are not cannabis people. We're businessmen.
Right.
CEO, who's not here, was the CEO of a very large multi-state company in California. He was the past president of Fiji Water, past CEO of Pabst Blue Ribbon. So he's been in this business, in the spirits business. But we are primarily businessmen.
Okay. The other question is the waste. Was mentioned that you render it unusable. Does it sit outside?
No.
At any point? No?
Thank you, trustee. So what we're proposing, if you could, if Mr. Glicker go back to the site plan, there are going to be 2 refuse areas. There's going to be one in the enclosed garbage area, and that's for like general business waste. And we're, as a condition of our special use, or of our minor site plan, we're going to put a sign up there that says, you know, office waste only, so that people don't get an idea of, oh, I'm going to come in here and store some cannabis.
I was thinking.
Where there will be the cannabis that's going to be mixed, like you were talking about, with other non-cannabis material to render it unusable, that's going to take place, if you could go to back to the floor plan, I'm sorry. In the lower left-hand corner, there's a compost room. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a walkway at in the back there and add a door into it. And so that's where that will be decomposing and being taken away then by a third party.
And there is no THC in that material.
Well, what do they do with it? Do they burn it someplace?
No, it's just composted.
Composted?
Disintegrates.
Okay. All right. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vogel. Trustee Lang, and then Trustee Kruger.
Thank you. So my question's more for staff. This is obviously new for us. So what sort of sales tax implications are there in this? None, because it's a wholesaler, if you would?
Correct. It's a manufacturer.
There are none. There are no sales taxes. It's not a retail center. It's a wholesale center entirely.
Got it. That's what I figured.
No benefit.
There are Cook County taxes and state taxes on the recreational product.
Come back to the local municipalities.
Right.
So once it's sold, there are taxes?
Correct.
Yeah, but not through your particular...
This is wholesale, not retail.
Right.
We're not going to do any retail at the facility. No, sir.
That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Kruger, then Trustee Rufato.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
I didn't see it, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong. You have purchased the property already?
No, the purchase is contingent upon us receiving a license from the state.
That was my next question. What happens if you don't get that license from the state?
We are sad for a couple days, and then we hit back at this and try to get the next round. There are 40 in this initial round licenses. They feel like 50% of those will fail for some reason. And then there's another round of 60 that will be issued supposedly at the end of 2021.
You want to talk? We believe we have a strong state application, though, so we're hopeful that we get that state license.
Maybe I missed it. When was the next round of?
Those,
when were you
I
thinking?
think the applications will go out a couple months after these initial 40 licenses are issued. and then those will be due in 3 months, and then they'll hope to make a decision by December 31st of 2021.
So you'll know by the end of the year?
We should know in October for our license.
Okay.
The next round would be the end of December if we are not awarded a license.
Great. Well, I hope we're not sad in January.
I hope we're not either.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Krueger. Trustee Rufato, and then Trustee Vito.
Thank you, Mr. President. The 40 licenses that you mentioned, is that just for craft growers, or is that all types of marijuana licenses?
No, they are only issuing craft grow licenses in the future. So the large-scale operations, what you call a cultivation center, they can cultivate up to, I think, 250,000 square feet, which is just an enormous facility. I think those were capped at 21. They don't plan on issuing any more of those licenses. All of the recreational licenses will be craft grow.
Okay, great, thank you. Then also, you indicated that you start out at 5,000 square feet, and who monitors that? Is that the state that monitors that?
It is the state, and we use a system called BioTrack. So they track everything from seed to sale. So we log our seeds into BioTrack, every plant, anything related to the cannabis grow, the mother plants, those are all tagged with barcodes. People are only restricted in the areas that they're working in. So there will only be 1 or 2 people working in the actual grow areas. Everybody else doesn't have access to those areas. So
if they're putting out a lot of product, more than their square foot indicates, the state will know. The state will be led on to saying, oh, what's going on over here? And they'll come and inspect likely.
Okay, so at 5,000 square feet, how many plants is that? Just an approximate.
I don't know if I could tell you offhand how many plants. I can tell you how much it would produce a month.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
With 5,000 square feet, we can produce about 250 pounds a month. So if we're able to increase to 14,000 square feet, we should be somewhere between 600 and 800 pounds a month.
Yeah, I have no concept of what 250 pounds or 600 pounds is. So.
Well, it's the same as anything else, but it's
It's a lot, apparently.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but it is a very complex process. This is not, all the people that will be working at our company are all people who have histories in farming. Our head cultivator is a farmer. He used to grow strawberries and lettuce, and then he moved into cannabis when California adopted all of their new laws.
Okay. And then lastly, water use. Is this excessive water? I'm using the wrong term. I'm trying to compare how much water you would use in this environment versus...
I can tell you, if we are at full capacity at 14,000 square feet of grow, we will consume 200,000 gallons a month. It is like a farm.
Okay.
And we understand that's not free water also.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. Trustee Vito, and then Trustee Krueger again.
Did you hear that, Pat? You might want to take a career change.
I'm looking at like industrial,
Farmer
I think
to
is easier.
grower. Yeah, my question is, how heavy is the manufacturing aspect of it in terms of getting whatever flour to infuse materials? Like, how dangerous, how much?
It's
I don't know how
not
to say it
very
properly, but
it's not very dangerous, and it's a controlled environment. And I think, as our CEO testified, the people that we will be hiring are chemists. They are not necessarily cannabis people, but they'll use our processes, and they're very well trained. We'll be using CO2 extraction. There shouldn't be really any issues with smell or combustibility or any other things you might think of.
so it's like, is it a heated process or is it's a chemical process?
It is a chemical process, but primarily it's a heated process.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. Trustee Kruger, you had a follow-up?
Thank you, yes. I forgot to ask, you mentioned you were going to have a couple of Springer vans
Yes.
for deliveries, assuming those are unmarked, there's no branding?
Yes, there will be, I mean,
associated?
what our CEO has done in the past is, put John's Pizza on the side or whatever, so, that they really aren't targets for anybody. The people driving the trucks, there will be lock boxes on the trucks that they won't have access to. There are only people in our facility that will have access to those, and that's, all of the trucks will be stored and unloaded inside the secure loading dock.
Same thing with your financial transactions?
Correct. And there are two large vaults that we are building on site, one for cannabis product and one for cash.
So we liken it to a casino with all the cameras and security access cards and the cash deposits. It's going to be a highly secure facility.
Without all the bells?
The only place...
Without any of the descriptive qualities on the facade. We'd like to keep this as innocuous as possible from the public way.
That's where I was going, thank you.
I've spent time down in Bedford Park at their facility, which is a very large grow operation, and you would never know it's there. There's no smell, there are no fences. It just looks like a normal manufacturing building.
Outstanding, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. You've got 7,200 square feet sketched in here to begin with, but your license is going to start you out at 5.
5,000 square feet of canopy takes up more square footage. So if you're growing 14,000 square feet of canopy, you need 20,000 square feet to do that.
Canopy.
Canopy is the area of the plants.
Ah, sorry. There's no way.
And that's just for the flower, which contains the THC. We will have other rooms, like a mother room, but there are no THC in those plants.
Those are just the little plants.
Those are the little ones, right?
Excuse me, what did you call that room?
Mother.
Mother.
Thank you.
You need the mother plants.
No way of recycling the water? You have a pretty enclosed situation.
It's something that we're looking into. As you can imagine, the process has been very expensive, so there's some consultants that we have just decided not to bring on until we're awarding the license.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? If there are no other questions or comments, we need some sort of motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion, trustee. Oh, hi.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Valerie Derwa. Can I speak?
Who is she?
This is the manager of the neighboring apartment complex. I believe it's the Briarwood. The Briarwood Terrace. It's in Mount Prospect, but or Prospect Heights. I'm sorry, but this individual spoke at the public hearing, and that's how we came to know her.
Okay.
And I believe she has questions maybe about security.
Hold on just a minute.
It's normally, your comments should have been made during citizens' concerns and comments. However, if the board, it's really up to the board. You can decide to listen if you choose to. It's up to you.
I can't just like, I'll ask. Any
That's what
objections?
he was talking to me about. She didn't know she had to sign in, yeah.
Okay, but, thank you. Any objections?
Do we want to set a precedent?
No.
I asked before the meeting started when I was supposed to go, and he said to wait until it was brought up in the new business.
But that was after we already started the meeting. So I don't think she understood.
So it's up to the board based on the circumstances.
Any objections from my right?
No.
Any objections from my left?
No.
Please.
Hi, my name is Valerie.
Apprehensive, but go ahead. No, go ahead.
Sorry. My name is Valerie Derwa, and I represent Briarwood Terrace Apartments, which is located at 1501 South Wolf Road, which is directly across the street from where they're proposing to put the business. I also oversee Lake House Apartments at 333 Wood Creek Road in Wheeling, Illinois. During the Plan Commission meeting on September 23rd, a few concerns were additionally brought forward to us. After that, we did a small petition on change.org, just informing our residents of what was being proposed to be brought to the area. 197 of our residents stated concern in regards to the smell. With Commissioner Villanova, the smell was brought up. They stated that they would do the charcoal filters and the filtration, but Mr. Cochran explained the inside grows are the easiest to control smell, but he did admit that the plants are stinky. They would install the best they can find state-of-the-art filtration system and clean the air exhaust out of the top. He said the wind would go in the opposite direction of the property, so it wouldn't always head towards the apartments. Commissioner Sprague disagreed about the direction of the wind. He explained most of the winds came from the west into the east, which is in the direction of our apartments. Mr. Olson explained the location of the louvers was in the northwest corner of the buildings and facing as far back on the buildings as possible. Commissioner Sprague questioned the amount of odors that would escape from the vents to the apartments across the street. He questioned if the neighbors would know when they were manufacturing, and Mr. Cochran did not think so because it was far and the systems were very effective. Mr. Eichwinman referred to the odor and explained they could also add makeup air units with air scrubbing if they identified that they were impacting the neighbors. He explained proposed louvers should filter it, but they could add some air units and air filtration systems to clean the air before it leaves the louvers, which decrease the amount. Commissioner Thompson then expressed her concern about the odor for the neighboring apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes, which are directly to the west of the back of the building. She's a former resident of Colorado, knows the smell can easily carry for a half a mile. She asked if carbon filters were being used. Mr. Cochran agreed carbon filters were one of the best approaches. He has also used natural oils as masking agents that were very effective. He explained it is much better than in the past. Their commitment is to have no odor or next to nothing. Commissioner Thompson questioned if there was anything within the state that monitors odor pollution. Mr. Cochran was unsure what the state had planned for monitoring. He explained that this is the easiest to handle and most effective. Commissioner Thompson asked what they were using for filtering. He stated they will use carbon filters and whatever is the best thing they can get at the time. He had experienced a much larger facility in Maryland and went on. Thompson said if there's an odor when standing outside of the, asked if there would be an odor outside of the facility. He confirmed you shouldn't be able to tell it was a grow facility, only on an occasion. I have 450 families that live across the street. Googling and seeing a Whitehaven community located in Pennsylvania stated they can't even open their windows without feeling sick. Property values have crashed. Another in Carpinteria, California, calls it fresh skunk, the odor cloud, or sometimes just the stink. Within a half a mile of the 1480 South Wolf Road, Wheeling, we have Briarwood Terrace, we have residential homes and townhomes, a Montessori school, Lake Run condos, and Willow Height condos. All will be impacted by the smell. And my other would be, per the Illinois Medical Cannabis Act, since there isn't a Craft Growers Act yet, 410 ILCS 130/105 provides that a cultivation center cannot be within 2,500 feet of an area zoning for residential use. We ask that the petitioner demonstrate how far this facility is from Briarwood Terrace, a 450-unit residential apartment community located right across the street from this proposed use. There are many families with children in this apartment community. Regardless of the exact distance, this facility should not be allowed across the street from a property with families and children.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Ferrolo, what's the 2,500 feet thing?
Well, that's a state law she's apparently reading from. We are a home rule community, and I'll let Mr. Standiford address it as well. we're a home rule community with our own zoning code, and our zoning code was enacted in compliance with the Illinois Municipal Code. So I'm not familiar with that exact statute, but I can tell you this, I have no doubt that our zoning code was done correctly. Mr. Standiford, can you perhaps address?
Yes,
where
sir.
she's-
And we don't intend on operating as a cultivation center. This is a craft grow center licensed by the state of Illinois, so we'll comply with the craft grow regulations. I don't know the distances, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be operating as a craft grow.
Okay.
And the state will be regulating that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Left, right?
My motion still holds.
We have a motion from trustee Lang, and we had a second from who?
Second.
Rufato.
Mr. Rufato, thank you. Roll call now, please.
Okay. Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Good luck. Clerk Simpson, you have something.
Yes, I do. Tomorrow, October 6th, is the last day to register to vote in person. Please bring 2 IDs, one with your current address. October 18th is the last day to register to vote online. You can register at cookcountyclerk.com or ova.elections.il.gov. Early voting begins October 19th at the Indian Trails Public Library, 355 Schoenbeck Road, and I think the hours 9 to 5?
No, the hours this year are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5, and that does include November 2nd, the day before the election.
Thank you. And then the 2020 census will continue to take either mail-in or online census forms, as well as continue the door-to-door with census takers. Please send in your census. The census is a way for our community to get its fair share of over $650 billion in federal funding distributed each year. For every 1,000 residents who don't get counted, Wheeling will lose $1,725,000 over the next decade. So please make yourself count. For the sake of your family, your neighbors, and your community, go to my2020census.gov and participate. It only takes a few minutes and it will make a big difference to Wheeling's future. Once again, that's my2020census.gov. Thanks. If you need additional information, please call 847-459-2606.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson. Trustee Krueger, you have a special announcement?
I do. Sherry is not here this evening, but Director Huizar and our Human Services Group used to do a birthdays over 90 and marriages of 50 years or more. We used to have a celebration pre-COVID, and I just wanted to make sure that I said publicly happy birthday to 91st birthday to my neighbor Gladys. I taught her how to get to the Channel 99 so she could watch it tonight. So happy birthday, Glad.
Happy birthday, Gladys.
And maybe we'll figure out something to do for our residents if we can, somehow celebrate them in spite of the pandemic.
That would be nice. Trustee Papantos, you have something?
Thank you. The fences, I feel sorry for these people who have to sit through a lot, and listen to who knows what, and besides go through the Plan Commission. So hopefully, Director Klicker, I know you said you're going to be working on that. It's just...
We anticipate by the end of the year, we will have regulations in front of you amending the fence regulations. I do have to, I don't want to say caution you, but let you know there is still one more fence variation going through the process right now. So
Of course there is. Everybody's home and doing
Exactly.
improvement projects.
If we're all good, you have before you the bills for September 17th through September 30th of 2020. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Krueger, second.
Second.
Trustee Papantos, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufata?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we have no executive session, we have no actions. I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Papanto, second trustee Kruger, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The rest of you can just sit here if you want. Meeting adjourned.
Good night.